Right, to catch you up on what I'm doing, in this last video you saw where I got the trailer finished. The reason I did the trailer first is so that I could get it finished and move it out of the garage, and that way I could start working on this boat bottom, and then later I can pull the trailer back in the garage, flip the boat back onto it, and then start working on the transom and then the inside of the boat. While we're turning it, just so we don't have to maintain the whole weight during the turn. I'm with you.
Where do you want me?
Not sure. You might just be moving
Here
horses
and
to
get
get
ready to
balance
pull it
in
this
case
way?
we need horses
We're gonna
moving.
lift it
Well,
up.
we're going to lift it up and turn it
You're
this
gonna
way.
set it on an edge and then come over?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
So you might make sure the horses don't move out of the way.
Boy, you're talented for sure.
Oh, I guess we're going to go ahead and start.
Too tall?
I wonder if we should shut the garage for a minute.
I think it would clear if you did.
Yeah, just swing it back down enough to, and I'll hit the door. Yeah,
They're still there.
we're on them.
We're on.
Okay, so all I need is move her in. So far, so good. Well, that was easy, Ron. Thanks.
That was easy. How's the easy button?
Shut up. At this point, I guess
This is the heavy end, isn't it?
this is the heavy end.
That's the heavy end.
Hang on, Mike's got kind of extra. Good here. Good. I don't know if we're on straight yet. Close enough.
close, yeah.
Close enough. Pretty close.
Or about as close as you'll get it when you get it in the lake.
Nobody fell down.
Right? There we go.
Basically all I've done is take this little oscillating saw with this type of blade on it. It's a metal and wood cutting blade, and just cut right down the top of this part here, and I'm going to try to figure out what's going on in here for a transom support. Well, I may have just opened up a can of worms, because every time I turn around I'm trying to find a way to where I can get to that whole transom area, and I'll show you what I've done. I got that whole back part off. Come up from down here, up and around, across there, back down this side. You know, since I'm kind of figuring out that I'm probably going to have to rip out the whole floor shell too. I wasn't expecting this, but we've got a project. Well, I made a big boo-boo. It's fixable, but it's a boo-boo. I'm trying to get this inner shell cut out. You know, for the most part, I'm going to take this out, probably the other one over there, because I plan on building I'm going to go ahead and build a deck back here, and you know, and some bench seating for that front. And so I was thinking, I'm sitting here cutting out, you know, the edge of the shell where I can get to this stinger, and I'll be damned if I didn't see light down through there. Ended up barely coming through right here. Let's see if I got that. Yeah, cut a hole in the bottom of my boat. But the good news is I can fix that from the top real easily. Fill it with resin, repaint it. So no big issue, but I really didn't want to do that. So I'm starting out here again, a little further away, and see if I can go that route. As you can see, I've done a lot of demo so far on this, and if I were trying to do a complete restore, I would have to do a lot more. I'd have to cut probably all the way up through here and around there, yank that out too. I'd have to yank out all those parts. Technically, I'd have had to rip out the live well, but I don't want to make this thing any more complicated than it has to be. So, you know, there's a little bit of rot in these stingers, kind of in some specific places where holes got into the plywood, you know, and I'm sure it's rotting on through underneath a little some too, but I'm not about to rip all this stuff out, put all new stingers in this thing, and you know, and start all over completely. So what I am going to do, and I think I've gone, you know, a lot further than way farther than I intended, and way above my pay scale. Each one of these runners is going to get a board mounted to them to hopefully, you know, help stabilize them as best they can. And all that, once I put those boards in, I'm going to clean this all up, you know, and I'll fiberglass over them, over the whole areas, and try to strengthen them that way. Then once I get those done, you know, that's really just kind of a half-ass way of fixing the stingers, but it's the way I'm going to do it. Before I do any of that flooring, I'm going to go ahead and redo this transom. It had a 3/4 inch and a 1/2 inch in there, and I'm going to make room. I've already done it here. I'm going to make room if I need to with the ends of these stingers and this box here and everything, where it'll take 2 3/4 inch and make 1.5 inches. And of course I'll have to clean this all up, get it real nice and smooth, you know, get everything kind of where the plywood will come in real nice, you know. And then I'm gonna put those together and resin them up real good, and then apply it to this transom. And I'll probably use some of the existing holes like these 2 here, and I've got some here I can go ahead and drill out again. This one here and over there. Boards fitted. If you'll notice, there's kind of some gaps down around the bottom and the sides, and that's fairly normal. I'm going to have to fill that in with what they call resin putty. It'll just, you know, make up some putty with some resin, some fibers with some resin, and then just fill all that in all the way around those sides like that, and around the bottom, before I actually do the fiberglassing of that back end to the sides and the bottom. You'll remember in an earlier video I patched this up, and from the outside, thinking that was the only way I could get to it. And when I was doing the bottom down here, I ended up sanding it to where it got back down to the putty. So this is not the way I want it to be. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to grind this off from in here. I've got a little bit of cracking down through here that came, you know, that it was original. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to fiberglass putty and put a bunch of new fiberglass across this area, all down in here. And I'll probably put a bunch of resin on this side to kind of fill in down there to kind of help strengthen that all up before I put my transom in. I got that all. Put a couple of layers of fiberglass in here, you know, wet it down with, and then put a thin layer on it of fiberglass, and then I widened it out again, and then I've just heavily resined it. Same thing on here, in this area here where I accidentally went through to the boat. I've got that all resined up and fiberglassed up. And then there's a little area up here in the front that needed fiberglassing down through here on a crack, so I went ahead and did that too. So now I've got the little things out of the way, and I can start working on the transom. Well, I'm getting down to a very important step, which is fiberglassing in my transom. And I went to a place today and got advice from an expert that said to use this stuff
let it hang over about a 1/2 inch all the way around, resin it in, and then resin in another one on top of it, and then clamp it in to the hole, and be ready to have all your clamping ready. So the system I've kind of developed, because I don't have long clamps to go down into the middle, is I'm going to use some of the existing holes and use these plywood pieces I've got here. Now these are 2 holes where the motor mounts in at, and I have this one I can also use. I went ahead and drilled this hole and this hole and this hole. I'm afraid this may be below the water line, but it's just a little hole and I can patch that up. The rest of these holes, like this one was already here, these were already here. You know, these are just your regular ones that you have. So I've got these boards set up to go into each one of these holes and into the plywood on the other side. On each one of them, ready to just throw it up here once it's in place. Then, you know, maybe put a clamp or 2 up here and get busy with, I'll probably work from here and go out. So, and those are all ready to throw in when I'm ready to go. Okay, I'm not 100% sure on how much of this resin mixture I'm gonna need to do this all this wipe down to get this transom in. So what I'm gonna do is mix a quart at a time, and with the help of my wife, I'm gonna have another quart standing ready as needed. And the way I'm gonna go about this is I've got a sheet here that shows the ratio mixture for the hardener to the resin, and I'm going to do it to the 1%. I don't. It shows 3/4 if it's like 95 degrees out, and it's not near that out now. So I'm going to go with the 85. So I'm going to do a 1% mixture, which means that for the quart over here, I'm going to do a 10 cc's, and I was able to get these little cc measuring cup from the supplier. So, you know, this is my hardener. I'll use 10 cc's of it, and then of course I have my resin. So I'm going to pour a quart, and you can watch me as I do this. Okay, now a quart is 4 cups, and this is 4 cups to the top of this. Okay, now I'm going to take my hardener. I've already put a little mark on there, make it easy to find. Now, I'm not going to mix that in this because there's not enough room to do it, so what I'm going to use is one of these bigger pails. And then my hardener. Here we go, we are officially getting started.